Okay, this lesson is going to be on selecting and deselecting elements in Canva. Obviously, the way you guys are probably most familiar with selecting elements is by using the lasso tool, which is simply dragging over what elements you want to select. But, if your design's a little bit complex or you have a lot of overlapping elements, you may want to be a little more precise with your selecting. And that's where the shift click method comes in. And honestly, the best way to select elements in Canva is kind of to use a combination of shift click as well as the lasso tool. So yeah, like I said, the lasso tool is pretty self-explanatory. You just drag over the elements you're trying to select, and then you could move them around, do whatever edits you need to do. But the shift click is a little bit more precise. So, let's say I wanted to select just this text right here. If I were to do the lasso tool, I'd end up selecting the elements behind it. But if you do shift click, you're just going to select that one element. And obviously you could just click the one element if this is the only one you want it to move. But if you wanted to move, a few things, but not this background, I would use shift click, and then just as you're holding down shift, click on whatever elements you want to use, and boom, that's all you have selected. Undo that. Because like I said, if I just wanted to select, let's say, this sale graphic and the new product graphic, if I use the lasso tool, you're going to end up selecting that background as well. There's also a way to select all of the elements on your design at one time using Command A. Now you have everything selected. This could be useful in some cases. I obviously don't use it a whole lot. But it is an option. And then the newest way to select elements is in the layers panel, which depending on when you're watching this video could be a pretty new feature for you. If you go to the position tab here, you'll now see there's a layers panel. So same thing, right? If you knew with this graph, it's kind of hard to see the text, but here you could see the new product element right here. So let's say you wanted to move that plus the sale graphic around. You would, instead of holding shift, which is, kind of weird that they kind of inversed it on the layers panel, but you would click command or control, and then the other element you want to select. So now you have just the sale and the new products element selected here. So that's another really useful way. If you're familiar with Photoshop at all, that's kind of how things work there. And what's cool with the layers panel also is you can select, like if I want to select, let's say these first 5 elements, you could click on the first one. And now if you hold shift and click on that 5th element, it's going to select everything in between. And you could see here on the design, I'm moving those 5 elements around. So if you're really organized with your layers panel, and you get comfortable with that, that's also another really good way that you can select more than one element at once. Some people are going to be more comfortable with the visual side, just like how Canva's been used and worked in the past. So you're just using the lasso tool and maybe the shift clicking. But if you are comfortable more with the layers panel, that's definitely a good option. I personally am still using more of the visual side and the lasso tool and the shift click, but I'll try and work in the layers panel here going forward as well. And then just one more thing to note, if you do have locked elements in your design that are not going to be selected, right, when you're trying to select certain elements on your design. So let's say we lock this sale graphic. Now if I'm trying to move that, and these few other elements, you just got to be aware of what you have locked on your design. So just make sure any element that you have locked is unlocked if you want to move it. But yeah, in conclusion, I would just get comfortable with using a combination of selecting methods. Don't just use the lasso tool and don't just use shift click, because shift click is great, but you're gonna spend a lot of time trying to select your elements if that's the only way you use. So get comfortable with using combination of those. Practice with the position in the layer section here on the left, and yeah, you should have no problem.